Thank you. Thank you, Dean Wells. Thanks, Jared, for all the arrangements and nominating committee. Congratulations, Lucy, as well. I've received a fair number of awards in my career, but of all of them, I would have to say that this is probably the most significant to me. After all, this is where it all began. This is where I came of age. I came at a very interesting time. In fact, just thinking about it, it seems to me that Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities, first few lines, pretty much sums it up. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was age of wisdom, it was age of foolishness, and so on. And that pretty much was it. It was in the, it was in the era of free love, rock and roll, the hippie movement, and the Vietnam War was just in its heyday. It was pretty crazy here. It was pretty impressive. For those of you of my vintage that have been here, you know just what I'm talking about. It was in the late 60s, early 70s. It was a pretty crazy time in my life. I just lost my dad a few months before from a sudden death. My brother dropped me off. He was late for starting his college, literally on the sidewalk in front of George Sherman Union. And several hours later, we found out that BU had overestimated the number of dorm rooms available. So I ended up on a cot at Sergeant Jim. Does this sound familiar to you? Same story right here, okay. So, it's like the airline industry, huh? So at any rate, it took a little while, and I also ended up at West Campus as well. And boy, talk about the massive student unrest because of the Vietnam War with tens of thousands, and a lot of it was centered right here. In fact, just less than a block away, there where the beautiful sports center is now. Boy, has BU changed. There used to be the Armory there. There was this massive student protest right there, and so on. And it's very interesting. But it's here where I really found direction and how to deal with independence. In high school, I was a good student, but I wasn't a great student. But after attending the College of General Studies, I became a great student. And it wasn't just learning how to study, it was really finding motivation, resolve, and again, dealing with independence. When I finished here, I went on to the College of Liberal Arts, and I was so afraid that, boy, it was tough here, I thought. And I thought it'd be a lot tougher there, but as it turned out, it was a lot easier. And not only did I excel, despite pulling down 2 jobs, just trying to make the tuition payments, but I had a choice of several medical schools to get into, and I picked BU not just because of its excellence, but because of the great experience I had right here where I started. And that meant a lot to me. So I just mentioned just one small thing. So here I just arrived, I'm disoriented, rather alone, and fairly depressed. And so I make my way to this building right here, about a half hour before my college starts. And so I sit down against the building next to Rob Armstrong. Rob, would you raise your hand, please? Rob became a lifelong friend. We've actually did a little traveling, hitchhiking across Africa and a few other things in my earlier days, but the point is, became a lifelong friend. And about 2 hours later, I found myself in a rhetoric class here at BU with Rob, and I guess to break the ice or for bonding, our professor said, tell us something personal about yourself. I forgot what I said, but I remember what Rob said. Rob lowered his head and in a quiet voice, sheepishly said, well, my mom's sleeping with the milkman. I don't think, but I don't think he ever told anyone or shared anyone that the milkman's his dad. And in fact, Rob is the president of Monroe Dairies. It's all his family business, just like Lucius Fold. So anyhow, I have much to be thankful for this institution. It's certainly gotten me where I am. I also just want to thank two other people for attending. Frank owns a business, Photographic Studios in Boston.
Thank you.
And my nephew, Zach. So thank you, one and all. This is quite a privilege for me.